Hey, welcome to Trauma Therapy Masterclass. My name is Rodgers Wafula. I'm a psychosocial counselor, an MHPSS projects and programs manager, a mental health and life skills trainer, humanitarianism enthusiast, and the founder of Trauma Warriors. The D-Day is here, and as per my earlier announcement that starting today, the 22nd day of March, I'll be holding an online trauma therapy masterclass for mental health professionals, organizations that provide mental health services, and for other persons of interest on the topic of mental health. And the theme of this masterclass is isolating the negative impacts of adverse life events from the identities of clients facing potential psychological trauma or facing situations that could trigger psychological trauma. Yeah, that is the theme of our masterclass. Once again, you're most welcome. In this first episode, I'm going to examine the role of self-concept in trauma recovery. But before that, I'd like to describe trauma or to define trauma as a psychological reaction to an adverse or a terrible life event that supersedes or that exceeds a person's ability to cope. Yeah, we shall go with that definition. As mental health professionals, we are aware of the profound impact that psychological trauma and events that can lead to psychological trauma can have on the self-concept of a person. As a result, the self-concept can provide a very fertile ground or a very key ground for healing among clients that present with symptoms or clients that are facing potential psychological trauma, or those who are being currently exposed to situations that can trigger or that can lead to psychological trauma. For instance, people who have suffered major losses or who are currently grieving, they often present with the feeling that a part of their lives has been ripped off, and that part has gone or has disappeared with the person that they have lost or with the loss that they have suffered. They feel empty or they feel broken. They feel that they have been ripped apart. Something is missing from them. The second example will be of victims of abuse, be it physical abuse, be it emotional abuse, and also victims of sexual and gender-based violence. This group of persons present feeling powerless and not being in charge of their bodies or of particular elements of their lives. Moreover, they present the loss of the freedom and rights of making particular and key decisions over their lives. The third and final example for this video highlights the plight of active and some recovering addicts. It is well within our knowledge that as addiction progresses to the full dependency stage, an addict or a drug user or a substance user is rendered powerless over their ability to control the use of their substance or drug of choice. At this stage, the full dependency stage, most active addicts confess that they do not have a choice but to indulge. Reason being, should they decide otherwise, they are going to be met with a severe withdrawal syndrome. Thus, they don't have a choice but just to indulge. The three examples that I've mentioned are not conclusive, and they do not represent the entire population of people faced with circumstances or situations that exceed their ability to cope. However, the baseline among them is that the self-concept of a person is at risk of injury when a person is faced with a potential traumatic event. Therefore, as a mental health practitioner, and when you're dealing with a client who is presenting or who is facing potential traumatic events, always zero in on the self-concept when you're designing your treatment plan. This is because the self-concept provides a very fertile ground for healing, and it's through the self-concept that as a practitioner, you'll be able to empower a client to take charge of their healing process and to actively participate in their healing process. In the second part of this series, I'm going to share with you a simple yet effective tool that I normally use to analyze the self-concept of clients that present or that are facing potential traumatic events. Still in the second part, I'm going to share with you how I integrate the findings of the self-concept analysis into the treatment plan of a client who is facing a potential psychological traumatic event. That marks the end of the first chapter. Thanks a lot for watching. My name is Rodgers Wafula. Adios. Adios.